So we had a bit of a traumatic event this morning, huh?
You did. I was kind of asleep for it.
I did. I had a little traumatic event. I think Mac got some revenge.
Yeah. I mean, he's been eyeing that thing for a while.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So he's been stalking the squirrel population in our backyard for a long time.
They learned a lesson.
Well, let's hope they did. I hope some were watching.
Yeah.
So he blew out his ACL. Why?
I wonder.
I wonder too, because he sits in the back door and he stalks the squirrels. And when a squirrel gets on the ground, he takes off running through the backyard to try and catch a squirrel. Well, no squirrel is that stupid.
And he's a tank, so of course he would blow out his ACL.
Yes, so he blew out his ACL chasing after squirrels in his own backyard. Well, we went through ACL surgery, had 2 months of being in confinement. He had a TPLO surgery, had to be completely still practically for 2 months. And now he's out. Mm-hmm. And what happened this morning?
I got a phone call this morning saying, Ila, come down now. Mac has killed a squirrel.
I might need some help.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. It was so bad.
It was pretty gory.
It was so...
The poor guy was stiff already.
No, he wasn't stiff. No, he was broke.
I know, but he was stiff when we put him in the bag because the bag, he wasn't bending with the bag. He was like...
It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
So I'm in the backyard picking up dog poop, right? Mm-hmm. Mac and Izzy, these two squirrels have been fighting all morning. They've been fighting with each other in the trees. And, inevitably one of them is going to fall out. Well, I'm not the only one that thinks one's going to fall out because Mac and Izzy are just standing under the trees, just waiting. They're just waiting for the squirrel to fall. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling him to go get in the house, and I'm picking up dog poop, and I'm telling him to go get in the house. I'm cleaning out the skimmer in the pool, and I'm telling him to go get in the house, and I'm scooping the leaves out of the pool, and the squirrel hits the ground literally directly in front of Mac. It's as if God just handed him the squirrel. It went right in front of him, and he grabbed it. And I was like, no! And I go running across the yard and tell him to drop it. He's not listening to me. And now Izzy's trying to take it from him, and he's running from Izzy, and the squirrel is still alive. And I see the squirrel biting him in the face and scratching at him and trying to get away. He lets the squirrel go, picks the squirrel back up, and then I see the squirrel literally fold in half. Folded in half at the backbone. Mac just broke his back right in front of me. It was terrible. And the squirrel was still alive for a minute.
Oh, no.
It was terrible. And Izzy's still trying to get the squirrel. And now they see the squirrel is dying. He puts the squirrel down, and now the squirrel is limp. So I'm hoping to God it's dead. And they are now chasing each other through the yard with this squirrel. And I'm screaming at them to stop. And they're chasing each other with this squirrel. Well, Izzy's chasing him. He's running with a squirrel in his mouth. And they put it down, and they're both inspecting it. And I'm like, okay, the one thing I cannot handle is if they just shred it. If they just rip it apart in front of me. So that's when I stood over the squirrel and got them off the squirrel, which at least they listened to me at that point.
Yeah.
And called you and said, I need some help here because I can't have them just shred it in front of me. I could not have them eat it.
It was at a 90-degree angle.
It was so disturbing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bloody, and its mouth was bloody, and its entire stomach was bloody, and its little paws. Its tail was soaked.
That thing had been all in Mac's mouth. I bet the whole thing would fit in his mouth, no problem.
Yeah.
And then he got one little bite on his little muzzle.
He's a special dog. He's special.
I mean, he was just being a dog. It's not like he did anything wrong. Yeah. But as a human, you just don't often see your dog catch a wild animal and kill it in front of you. I mean, maybe you do if you live where I grew up in Bowden or something, but I don't really see that much in LA. And I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean, Shirley brings us rats all the time. She brought another rat in last week, and she just leaves the dead rat
as a present.
And
it's not really a present. It's because they don't think you can hunt.
Yeah, I know. So it's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
I love you and I think you're an idiot.
I can see Shirley's.
Do you think that's what she says?
Yeah.
Hey, I know you can't really feed yourself, so
Here you go.
here you go. But to watch the whole thing is really disturbing. To see the squirrel drop and know what's going to happen and watch it happen. I mean, when it folded that squirrel in half, it was so awful. And the thing was still alive. It was awful. And all I thought was, I'm just going to let it finish. I'm going to let Mac finish killing it because I can't watch this thing suffer. I'd rather him just finish it off. You know what I mean?
And I mean, not to be weird, but Mac did kind of deserve it.
Mac deserved it? Deserved to get one?
Because he'd been like chasing them for such a long time to the point where it was kind of embarrassing for him. He wouldn't have gotten one already. So, like, I mean, I get it. And the squirrels should have known that there was a humongous dog underneath them while they were fighting.
They knew for sure.
So they knew the risk.
But now...
And it's a circle of life.
It is a circle of life. But you don't think Mac's like, well, I've got that under my belt. He's going to be even more about chasing squirrels now.
You know.
That just, like, ignited his prey drive.